So, Wolves 0, Burnley 4, and to be honest, it's days like this that make me question why even bother getting out of bed, or even being able, or even bothering to stop doing my work and watch this team, because that performance from start to finish was an absolute disgrace. Now, I want to preface this by saying fair play to Burnley, really outplayed us off the park. If there's any Burnley fans watching, I mean, fair play. Your team was superb today. Played us off the park, more passion, more desire, more ideas, and just less ineptitude, really, than us. You were superb. But to get to our team, I've stuck by Nuno for the entirety of this season. I've been very, very calm. I've been very, very composed, apart from the West Brom game, about our team's performances. I think I've been very reserved in my criticism of the coach. But this, I think, for me, is a step too far. I've been holding it in for a number of weeks now. The past couple of weeks it was okay. We got the 3 points, but the performances were still terrible. This performance has happened far too many times this season. We saw the same thing against West Brom. We've seen it in at least 5 or 6 other games where the players can't be bothered. We've got no idea, no passion. The changes are terrible. Why are we playing 5 at the back? Again, against a team that are struggling against relegation. We're supposed to be a team in transition. Wolves 4.0. All this talk. Nuno said that we need to try new things. Well, try new things then. Because what we're doing at the moment is not working. And I know some of the older Wolves fans, or maybe some of the Wolves fans of the older persuasion, it's fair to say, will be angry at the fact that I am done with this coach. I am fed up of this. It's been a year of turgid football. We've been terrible since April or May, whenever we came back from lockdown. The defending today was absolutely awful for all 4 goals. Connor Cody and Willy Bolly. Willy Bolly we praise a lot, but today he was terrible. Cody, the same thing. You have to question what on earth we do in training, because every week we've had the same things, individual mistakes. And in fairness, you can't blame Nuno for individual mistakes, but you can blame him for playing the same players that make those individual mistakes. Any manager worth his salt could see in 5 Premier League matches, maybe even less than that Connor Cody is not a good isolation defender. He cannot defend when he's asked to do it. He has the odd really good game. He's a fantastic leader, a brilliant person, brilliant human being, but he is not a good defender for where we want to be. The football this year has been so poor. You can blame it on injuries all you want. One injury should not cause the complete collapse of a season. If a manager is that tactically reliant on one player, then I'm sorry, but he's out of his depth. You cannot completely collapse. It's his idea to have a small squad. It's bitten him in the ass. We've seen this season, Wolves' Twitter page have been posting highlights of our old games. And we were so good at just breaking teams down, playing attacking football. And we saw none of that today. The attacking was just non-existent. Adama, yet again, brain dead for the 3rd goal. I don't know what he's doing for the 2nd goal, sorry. Brilliant through ball, mind. I wish he could do that for us. But it's just a crossing, the Willian Jose again. The midfield was just beaten in every battle. Dendoncker was losing every 50-50. Neves was the only real standout player. Semedo, Ait-Nouri, I think, was in defence. Cody, Bolly, Saiss, the defence itself as a unit just wasn't cohesive at all. If it wasn't Rui Patricio, we'd probably be relegated, or in danger, much more danger of being relegated. The guy saved us so many times this season. There's just no positives at all from this game. We need to have a change in management, a change in recruitment. There needs to be a rebuild of sorts. I think this cycle has come to an end for Wolves, and I know that it's a very, very controversial opinion, because I know a lot of people like it. I don't mind if I get slated. It's my opinion, other people have theirs, but I am fed up of watching this turgid football, a refusal to drop players who aren't playing well. Fosun have sold players that have performed well for us, so why should it be any different for a manager that's underperforming? We've got West Brom next week, and I know Tim Spears tweeted out saying, Operation Relegate West Brom. We've got to beat West Brom to do that. They beat us last time, and I'm 100% convinced they're going to do it again. It has got to improve. We cannot keep making the same mistakes and coming up with the same excuses. Things have got to change.
Right, I'm just going to do my Talking Wolves video now because I'm going out to the pub, and currently 4-0 to Burnley. So when we was 3-0 down, I did put a cheeky pound on Wolves winning 4-3. Not really. I think, listen, lacklustre performance. We look devoid of ideas, but you can't really defend this. And listen, I'm the biggest happy clapper going. Can't defend this. 4-0 at home to Burnley. Poor throughout. You know, listen, today I think I'd have chucked Vitinha, Silva and Corbino or however it's pronounced on, and just let them run at it and just see what they could do. But what else is there to say? Nothing. So keep tuning into the fantastic work that Talking Wolves are doing. Over and out.
What a shambles. What an absolute shambles that was. To lose 4-0 against a Burnley side who got 13 goals at home away from home this season. To show no fight or no intensity. To get out-footballed by Sean Dyche is not good enough. And there is no coming back for Nuno Espirito Santo. There's no coming back for the cosy club that this football club has now got. We need change at this football club. And the manager has to go for a start. And the majority of the players have to go in the summer. Because we need a proper rebuild this summer. No about transitional season. Because if you look at the starting lineup today, compared to what it was, you know, at this point last season, two differences. Raul Jimenez wasn't playing. Raul Jimenez obviously not playing because of his injury. And we sold Matt Doherty, replacing with Willian Jose and Nelson Semedo. And we're playing exactly the same system. So there is not a transitional season. And there's no transition from this. If anything, we've transitioned into a team that's lost its identity. And showing no fight and no character to ever win any football matches. It's an embarrassment. The final score, obviously, Wolves 0, Burnley 4. We've lost 4-0 3 times this season. And this is the worst to take, especially at home. First time we lost 4-0 in the league since Walter Zenga was in charge. And Walter Zenga got a lot of abuse for that. And as far as I'm concerned, the criticism that Nuno should be getting is warranted based on today's performances. And let's break down the major factors. The goals. The first goal. I mean, Willy Bolly's made a mistake beforehand, but Bolly's recovered it really, really well, because when you're our only defender at this football club, you've kind of got to carry the defensive load. But sometimes he goes through moments where he has a really, really bad defensive game, and it just makes our defence just weaken because he's the only man who can defend. I mean, he's mistimed the header, but Cody in a 1v1 situation. The fact we have built a defensive system around a guy who can shout and produce long balls. When he isn't producing long balls, he's useless to this team. Because he can barely play in a 5 effectively, and he can't play in a 4. So why is he an automatic starter in this 11? Second goal, Adama Traore. We know can't defend. So why are we having our wingers doing a lot of defensive work, a lot of defensive duty, and it's going to cost us? But the fact we just gave up as soon as the ball went to Chris Wood. Embarrassing. Third goal. I mean, Nuno, when he first came into this football club, one of the things that was always mentioned in the championship season is we could never defend set pieces because we always went to a zonal system. We're still in the zonal system and we still can't defend from set pieces. We're in the top 5 again for the most conceded in that department. And I think that also comes from an element of playing midfielders as defenders and having a striker mark Chris Wood. And I mean, Chris Wood is a bang average footballer at best. And he's got a hat-trick that was so easy. So easy. And after that, there was an opportunity where Tarkowski, you know, he was shouting at Podence. Surely that would give the players the fight to actually go out and, you know, try and prove that opposition wrong. But they didn't. They cowered away. And we're so lucky to be in the position that we're in. We're so lucky with the last 2 games that, you know, little bits of magic have done us. We played exactly the same in the last 2 games. And what's happened? We've dropped down. We were lucky to get those wins. And now we play exactly the same. We get absolutely demolished. And it was an embarrassment today. And 4-0 absolutely flatters us today. Fourth goal. Again, another member of the Cozy Club, Roman Sayis, at fault for that goal. What is he doing just giving it away? And I swear I've seen Wolves concede so many goals that season. But we didn't test we did not test Nick Pope. We did not show anything that suggests to me that there's any, you know, desire that Nuno's going to improve us for next season. I'll make this bold statement now. If Nuno's here next season, we're going to go down. Because let's not forget, Every single one of the players that we've had injured are now in the start, like, they've been in the starting 11 at some point this season. And the style of football has not changed, no matter what players are in. It almost seems as though they're forced to play exactly the same way when they're their own individual player. And his man management today has just been... There is no coming back for Nuno today. He has got to be sacked. And God forbid he's here for West Brom game. If we lose to that, I mean, the double over West Brom, I mean, that is something that I really don't want to think about. But Burnley didn't, you know, they played 2 games against us and they've looked comfortable. Fair play to them today. They done a job on us and they were excellent. You can't take that away from Burnley. But we were Right, thanks for having me on Talking Wolves, and hopefully there'll be an announcement with Nuno leaving the football club. Thank you, guys.
So, Wolves have been smashed. Wolves 0, Burnley 4. Well, at least Ain't Nori did good. That's the only thing I can say. We were played off the park countless amount of times. Burnley just decided they were going to just load every single man into the box. Brilliant idea when we have one defender who doesn't even know his right for his left, Romain Saiz. Another defender who is in the England squad for his amazing passing. And don't know what else. And a defender who clearly was still on the plane to France for his summer holidays. You know, it's just not good enough. Why are our wing-backs on corners? I really do not understand this. We have Neves who can easily take a corner. Why have we got wing-backs on corners? No sense to me today. Starting lineup I thought was a bit weird. Obviously, you know, we're safe now, so I don't get why we didn't play the youngsters. Still, when we were going on the sub-bench, you know, why didn't we bring on someone like Molineux at half-time, who's had an amazing golden scoring record for the under-23s? You know, it just frustrates me so much. And last time I was on Talking Wolves, I ranted about Man United and how I wanted Moutinho out of my team. This week I want Semedo out of my team. I want Saiz out of my team. I want Dundonker out of my team. And I want some new signings in there who actually can play football, please. Is that hard? You know, like, how hard is it that we can sign someone to actually work? It's clear that Gibbs White isn't working. He's not been playing a cam position, which is his position. It was shown that at Swansea. It's clear Vitinha isn't working on the left because he's not a left winger. You know, how many times do I have to tell you? He's not a left winger. He's a central midfielder. Play him in central midfield. Talking opponents, what a game he had. Like, it's probably the worst game I've seen opponents do. Even Traore was sloppy. I mean, that second goal, what is that pass? I mean, Semedo should be awake and alert to it, but what is that pass? The only two people that can, like, somewhat hold up their hands high today was Ain't Nori and supposedly Cody, even though you could argue for the first goal he should have done better, but to be honest with you, when the player's trickling and trying to drive their way through, I don't really think it helps. So yeah, cheers Talking Wolves, cheers for having me on, and yeah, we come out.
Where do you even start with a performance like that? Like, I'm bored of watching us play. Like, I feel nothing watching us play now. Usually after a performance like that, I'd be cursing, I'd be gesticulating, I'd be going mad in the living room thinking, this isn't good enough, it's time to go. But even now, I'm just like, I'm bored, I feel numb. I don't feel anything watching us playing. And I think that's transposed onto some of the players today as well, because not one of them wanted it today. Burnley wanted it more than us, and they've come, and all they were was organised, and they've done a job on us, and they played a lot better than us, and they deserved the win. It could have been more than 4. I think the first 2 goals are just calamitous defensive errors. If your under 11s team conceded a goal like that, you'd be fuming. And you got fans on Twitter blaming Nuno for that. I don't think that's Nuno's fault, but then you've also got to question the approach to play 5 at the back against Burnley at home. Saying that if we played a 4, it might have been even more. But it's not good enough. It's so stale and it's so boring to watch. And I think if it wasn't for the strong start we had at the start of the season with Jimenez in the side, I know it's all if buts and maybes, but I think we could have been in some serious trouble if not. Personally, I think it's time for a change anyway, whether that be managerial or wholesale within in the squad. Something needs to change. Looking at that today, we need 5 or 6, and poor recruitment has done us again. couple of windows of really poor recruitment, probably even more so in a couple of windows, and it's really bitten us on the arse now. It's just so bad, and West Brom will beat us next weekend, and that'll be me done. You know, obviously I reacted the last time we lost to West Brom, and I'll have similar feeling because we've waited so long to do a job on West Brom. For most of my lifetime, West Brom have always been better than us, and this is the first time in my generation where we are the better team, and if we lose again to them, it will be absolutely heartbreaking. But yeah, today isn't good enough, but I'm also at the point where I don't really care, and that's worrying. I'm very detached from it because we can't go, but I think it's a bit of a saving grace for Nuno that the fans can't go, because I tell you what, he wouldn't have a job still if that was the case. So we move, but yeah, really not good enough, and I sound like a scratch record.
Alright then, it finishes Wolves 0, Burnley 4. Probably the worst ever Wolves game I've watched in a long time. I mean, it proves that we can't defend. It just shows off all our bad form. This was meant to be a potential 1, maybe 2-0 game to us. We were at home for a start. That's embarrassing. Chris Wood scores a hat-trick in the first half for the first time away from home in the Premier League since 1998. So that's embarrassing on its own. He had an amazing game for him, 4 goal involvements. It feels like our only tactic right now is to pass to Traore and for him to cross it in, but right now he can't cross it in. There was 2 times where he tried to cross it, went right over, and then any other time, people know how to defend off Traore. He's been doing it for the last 2 years now. All he does is he runs across it in and it deflects off a player, and then we get a corner potentially. Man of the match is obviously going to be Chris Wood. There's not much more to say really. Dreadful game. We need to beat West Brom. Hopefully we could relegate them. That'd be pretty good. That would probably brighten up the mood a bit. But yeah.
Wolves 0, Burnley 4. What an absolute waste of time for everything that we've done. I've got no words to say about today's performance. I'm absolutely disgusted. But all I've got to say now is, for all these people who are saying that a Nuno out, just because they have these like little freak results and everything like that, then they can all off. Because I still have belief in Nuno, and I still have belief in the team. It's been a horrible season due to all the pandemic, or I don't know, fans or anything like that. So we've got to give everybody a chance. And let's just write off this season as one of them seasons. But all I've got to say is, on to the next game, like I always say. It might have been different if the fans were there egging them on and Jimenez was back. But apart from that, I've got nothing else to say. So anyway, and thanks for Talking Wolves for having me on. And on to the next game. Thank you.